there goes the South Africans, Rosemary and Francois, on their boat Zigzag. They were a lot of fun. Really enjoyed them. Again, more people leaving, but that's the way it goes in the sailing world. And they've been everywhere, those guys. They left South Africa, I think 3 years ago. Been in the Med, been in South America, Suriname, French Guyana, all over the Caribbean. They've been really cool. And now they're off. People leaving. I'm just staying here until Carnival, then I'm gonna be going. But it's kind of weird to see the marina like this, all slowly emptying out. Soon it'll be my turn.
Francois and Rosemary had waited for a decent weather window to cross the Atlantic. They left just before the weather began to change. After all, it was January in the Canaries. I got an email from them from their crossing. They were in the middle of the Atlantic. They said it was challenging, big waves and windy. But later, they told me the weather improved and made it across. It confirmed my decision to stick around for a while. No rush to go and get me in Galopin tossed around. And I was expecting another friend to visit. It was none other than sweet SARAY from Lanzarote.
We're going on a cave exploring excursion. With my dear friend SARAY and Olga and Oleg, who was nice enough to invite us to this excursion. Okay, here we go. Thanks to Oleg, who's brought us on this trip of discovering Cueva del Viento.
Oleg is one of my marina neighbors, a professional captain from St. Petersburg, Russia. The man has more than 200,000 miles of navigation experience. He's been across the Atlantic 12 times.
It's raining in the Canaries, oh my God. Just hasn't stopped.
He had extra tickets to visit one of Tenerife's attractions, Cueva del Viento, the Cave of the Wind. It's a guided tour of the world's 5th longest lava tunnel. Where are the leading 4? In Hawaii. The tunnel was discovered when an old lady fell down an opening to the cave. She survived because local farmers had been throwing farm rubbish down the hole. The leaves and branches cushioned her fall. The cave is partially open to the public under strict supervision, and the rest is closed to protect and study the life and fauna that lives there. This is where the old lady fell. Incredible that she survived, but she must have been a real guanche. They are reputed to be incredibly tough. Carla, our guide, gave us a feel of what it's like to be alone in the tunnel.
So everybody done with the lights?
Cueva del Viento is not for claustrophobes.
Nice weather outside.
Salimos de la cueva.
Or avid smokers like Oleg and Olga, who were happy to get out and
Thank you, Carla.
torch one up.
Yeah, well.
It continued to rain, which had enlivened plant life on the side of Tenerife. It looks more like cool, lush forests of the north than an Atlantic island. As we made our way back to Santa Cruz, we were awestruck by a phenomenal sight. The clouds parted for an instant and revealed this.
Wow! We just came around the corner and all of a sudden we see the Tiede like this. Unbelievable. Incredible, huh? Like?
Yeah, perfect.
Wow.
Increíble. Fantástico, la verdad, ¿eh? No lo había visto así, ¿eh? El Tiede nunca. Poco sí la puntita, pero tanto.
This is pretty special. We're with...
Increíble.
I'm with SARAY, my super good friend SARAY from Lanzarote, la Conerjera.
Conejera.
Guess what? We're gonna go have her touch snow because she's never touched snow before. Imagine that. So this is pretty special. And up here in El Tiede is incredible.
Parque Nacional del Tiede. Qué frío aquí, ¿eh? ¿No podemos ir por abajo o no?
It's absolutely incredible to be up here on El Tiede National Park with my friend SARAY, who's never seen snow. Or she's seen snow, but she's never experienced it. And I wanted to see this place in the winter, this mountain covered up with snow. I'm super glad I stayed. It was worth it. Even though I didn't want to see cold and snow anymore, this is too special, man. It's too incredible. Wow. I love this place. Hey, ¿qué piensa, amiga?
Nada, que es esto increíble, con mucho frío, la verdad, y muy bonito el Tiede.
¿Y qué piensas de la nieve? Es la primera vez que tú toques la nieve, ¿eh?
Pues bueno, vamos, helada. La poquita nieve, pero lo que toqué, la verdad que horrible, muy fría.
We would have loved to get deep in the snow, but the roads were closed. It's not like rental cars are equipped with snow tires or chains here, but we found enough of the cold stuff to give SARAY a feel for it. She's got a promising pitch and a good aim. Perhaps it's because she's got some Cuban blood.
Aquí en Tenerife, con Alex, viendo la nieve, increíble.
Look at that smile, and her laugh is just pure joy. It was incredibly cold that day with blistering wind. We made our way back down the mountain only to stop and see the sights. We rounded the entire island that day to get as many views of El Tiede. The wind was so fierce, SARAY could not open the door to get out of the car. She had to climb over and come out the other side. Near Masca, on the southwestern tip of the island, clouds poured over the mountains, and the rest of the drive was in total fog and mist. But we made it back to the city and got a little crazy drinking and dancing that night. It was SARAY's last day, and as much as I would have loved to take her out on a ride on Galopin, I was not about to torture her in the rough Atlantic. Plus, the weather was constantly changing, and it was frankly cold. So, next best thing, Casa del Carnaval. Tenerife hosts the world's second biggest carnival after Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. This tiny island with a population of less than 1 million people. Once singer Celia Cruz got over 200,000 people dancing in the streets, which set a Guinness World Record. For all you sailors stopping by Tenerife on your way across the ocean in February, if you aren't into music, dancing, beautiful women, and dressing up like one, sail on. Here are some of the dresses and costumes of the past, and models of the full-size costumes. Each year has a theme. People work all year round on their costumes in hopes of winning Best in Show. As well, they compete in dancing, music, and political satire by way of lyrical songs. It's a big part of their history, and an interesting story at that. It started about a century ago. The bourgeoisie held private parties in their homes, and our lower classes celebrated in the streets. People wore masks to hide their identities. That way the rich could play with the common in secrecy. It reached its popularity in the 30s, and more people began to take part. Then war was declared and everything stopped. And after the end of the Civil War and until the 1960s, Carnaval de Santa Cruz had to be held clandestinely behind closed doors. The prohibitive measures that were put in place were in stark contrast to the people who still wanted to have fun and forget their problems. Despite this, some loosely organized celebrations still continued, but in secret and behind masks. The Sociedad de Recreo began once again to organize costume balls, and people started to venture in the streets again, defying the rule of Franco. They had to keep a careful eye out for local government vehicles known as chivatas. They were sent out in relentless pursuit to stop anyone from celebrating Carnival, kind of like the Bomber Patrol. And the darkest years of Carnival were in the mid-50s, but slowly it was accepted, but not as Carnival, but as a winter festival. The island was far away from mainland Spain, so the locals got away with more and more, until today. For me, I would finally experience Carnival, a first for me, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm in for.